All right, so we're back in our game and we're going to do two little steps and then we're really going to dive into the code that we have to write. The first of those little steps is it's a good idea to take a look at what our position on our screen is. What does it look like, my X and Y positions? Keep in mind, when we were writing our code for the cat, we used change X by 10 and -10 and change y by 10 and -10. So what does that mean on our screen and what exactly does it look like? So first thing we're going to do is give ourselves another backdrop, another stage that allows us, well, not another stage, but another backdrop that allows us to see what we have on our screen in terms of our X and Y coordinates. So we're going to start real quickly by going down here to stage. So in the bottom right corner, we can see we've got our sprites, and there's our sprite. And then we have over here stage. We're going to click on stage. You can see all my code disappears, but that's not a problem, nothing to panic about. And we see right now, here's our code for our stages. But then we also have these three tabs: code, backdrops, and sounds. I'm going to click on backdrops. And right now you can see that we just have one, and it's a plain blank white backdrop, which is fine. We can see also we got some editing tools, so we could change that and modify that ourselves, but we're not going to do that today. What we are going to do is add another backdrop. So I can click here to choose a backdrop. I can also click over here to choose a backdrop, and I can paint a backdrop. I can be surprised by just a random selection of a backdrop, or I can upload a picture or some kind of file as a backdrop, and those are choices I have. But right now, I'm just going to choose a backdrop. So I'm going to click that button. You can see you've got categories of backdrops you can choose from, but I know exactly what I want and I know pretty much where it is. So I'm just going to scroll down a lot until I get to it. So I'm going to go right here to the XY grid. And I click on that backdrop and you can see now I've got two backdrops here. This is one of them, the XY grid, and the other one is backdrop one. And on my XY grid, one of the things that Mr. Kizuka loves about this, and I agree, is that it shows you where everything on your screen is and the limits, so to speak, of the top numbers you can go to and the bottom numbers you can go to on both the X and the Y coordinate. So you can see the highest we can go is 180 on the Y, and the lowest we can go is negative 180 on the Y. And the furthest to the right we can go is 240 on the X, and the furthest to the left we can go is negative 240 on the Y. So that's our coordinate plane in terms of how our screen works or is divided. Our scratch screen, our scratch window is divided in that fashion. So that's important to know in terms of how we set things up. We're going to go, though, to code now. And we're going to write a tiny little bit of code for our backdrops. And the reason we're going to write code for our backdrops is just so we can do something that's pretty important. So I'm going to start with events. And the event I'm going to choose is the when flag clicked. Here's what I'm going to tell you globally. When we're writing a bigger and bigger program, and that's our next steps is writing bigger and bigger programs, you want to control the number of things that you're assigning that when flag clicked button. In fact, the number of things you assign to the when flag clicked makes a lot of sense to make them small, right? Minimize the number of things that are on when flag clicked and make everything else dependent upon things that you write in your program. So what we're going to do is we're going to set up an event in our when flag clicked that makes it so we can key other events off of that. So when the flag is clicked, what we want to do is we want to go to looks, so that's the purple things, and we want to switch our backdrop. So when the flag is clicked, we're going to switch our backdrop to backdrop number one. Okay, so whenever I click the flag, it's automatically going to go to backdrop number one. And that's going to give me the ability to set up some other events on that when flag, excuse me, on that switch backdrop event. All right, so if I go back to my sprites, and I'm going to do that by clicking down here on my cat sprite, you can see right now I can move this cat around in that X and Y coordinate, and that'll give me my X and Y positions, right? So I can try and get it to 0, 0, but that's going to be tough and not really worth my time. What I do need to do, though, is add another sprite. And once we add that other sprite, then we're really going to start coding, and that's pretty exciting. So I'm going to go down to the little cat icon in the bottom right corner, and I'm going to choose a sprite. Now, there's lots of categories of sprites and lots of different sprites, and you can search through here and find all you want. For now, I know what I'm looking for. I'm looking for this little crab here. He makes me smile. So I'm going to click on the crab, and that's going to add my new sprite. And that's all I'm going to do right now because the code is what's next, and the code is going to be a big chunk of what we do today. So I'm pretty excited about that.